I will soon be going after Orden, the White Hand, the Contras, the El Salvadoran government, those fighting against the so-called communists of Central America, and it'll be ruthlessly going after those who called themselves anti-communist and committed crimes against humanity in the name of defeating communism. But I should go over some things because this happened 3 times today. Someone at the Latino Outreach Center, again, came across Hip Hop Hughes, and, well, I didn't see it today, but before, Top 10 Simon Whistler. So I might as well go through some things. Ernesto Che Guevara is a rich white brat born to a rich white family. He was, in his Spanish side, he was Basque and Cantabrian, and on the other side, he was Irish, meaning I have more Latino blood than he does. He was a college boy, medical school, abandoned his wife and children twice, 2 wives, 2 children. He was an executioner, hated blacks, thought blacks were inferior, executed sick people and gays and televised it. But let's get into who he was and what he believed as well. He opposed the idea of freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the First Amendment, anything that followed under that. Not just the American First Amendment, but freedom of assembly, freedom of press, freedom of religion, freedom of thought, freedom of conscience. Repressed rock and roll, hated rock and roll, jailed homosexuals, murdered thousands, including children and women, opposed free elections, and I talked about his 2 wives, 4 mistresses, and many children that he abandoned. Some quotes from Che. The blacks, those magnificent examples of the African race who have maintained their racial purity thanks to their lack of an affinity with bathing. They've seen their territory invaded by a new kind of slave, the Portuguese, and the 2 ancient races have now begun a hard life together, fraught with bickering and squabbles, daily fight for survival, but their different ways of approaching life separate them completely. The black is an indolent and a dreamer, spreading his meager wage on frivolity or drink. The European has a tradition of work and saving, which has pursued him as far as this corner of America and drives him to advance himself even independently of his own individual aspirations. While in the Congo, he said, given the prevailing lack of discipline, it would have been impossible for us to use the Congolese machine gunners to defend their base from air attack. They did not know how to handle their weapons and did not want to learn. In 1959, we're going to do for blacks exactly what blacks did for the revolution, by which I mean nothing. The Negro is indolent and lazy and spends his money on frivolities, whereas the European is forward-looking, organized, and intelligent. That's Ernesto Che Guevara. Oh, Che Guevara also murdered a young boy. We must do away with all newspapers. A revolution cannot be accomplished with freedom of the press. Here's another quote by Che. Cuban workers have to start getting used to life under socialism. By no means can they go on strike. So if you like unions, Che hates you. You should learn to think and act as a mass. It is criminal to think as an individual. And as for the Mexicans, what did Che say? Mexicans are a band of illiterate Indians. He was against the long hairs, hippies, lazy youths, and homosexuals. It was said by a Huffington Post, a left-wing thing, Che was a psychopath whose sadistic lust for blood was not easily quenched. He killed for pleasure. He held blacks in contempt. Spirit of Rebellion speech in 1961. The youth must refrain from ungrateful questioning of governmental mandates. He loved being an executioner, and he was a mass murderer. He invented Cuba's first slave labor camp. And the reason why I have this backdrop is he was a Maoist. So I'll leave you with that. When you see somebody with a Che Guevara t-shirt, it's most likely a white Western European or someone from North America or a Mexican. That's it. No South American or Cuban would ever wear his image.